Welcome everybody to episode 6 of the Texans franchise. In this episode we will be looking at the tight end and O-line draft prospects, and we are playing against the New York Giants in week 10 and the Washington Commanders in week 11. The Texans did re-sign Dalton Schultz to a 4-year deal, but we could get a tight end to have him be mentored by Schultz, or maybe get elite tight end talent and have a great 1-2 punch at tight end. Robert Hahn is the highest ranked tight end in the draft in the first 10 weeks. Robert is a big 6'5", 240-pound tight end that plays like George Kittle. He's not no Kyle Pitts speed, but his power and awareness with his route running ability makes him a can't-miss prospect. The tight end Ben Dupree is very physical and loves to physically attack the defense when he's blocking. Ben is a great blocking tight end, definitely the best in the draft at blocking, and Dupree can become a short 5 to 10 yard receiving tight end with the right coach and system. The tight end out of Texas, Paris Johnson, is an athletic freak. He's not Kyle Pitts, but he's pretty close. Paris isn't a good blocker, but he's like a big wide receiver at tight end. In just his first day in the NFL, he'll be one of the fastest at the tight end position. Paris Johnson is a risky pick, but he could be a legendary talent. The tallest tight end in the draft is Fresno State's own Will Robertson. Will Robertson is an amazing red zone threat, using his 6'8" size to moss little DBs in coverage. But scouts have said he looks like a massive deer in headlights when having to run down the field to be a deep threat. He's a solid blocking tight end, but it's clear his expertise comes in the 3 to 15 yard range when receiving. Will could be a Pro Bowl or Hall of Fame caliber red zone threat, or he can get hurt arriving to practices. The Texans O-line is spotty. We have Tunsil, Ramczyk, and Shaq Mason, but everybody else can be replaced if presented with a elite talent. The second highest ranked O-lineman is Notre Dame star Joe Blart. Blart is very talented, don't get me wrong, but why he's praised so highly is his ability to constantly show up in the clutch, never allowing a single sack in the fourth quarter of a game. Zion Houston out of TCU is a guy you would love to have on your team. He's not bad at football, but the positive energy he brings out can lift up a locker room. The Texans do lose a lot, so maybe they'll look at him with their first pick next year. Paul Sanders is a big boy left tackle. He doesn't move well, and for a tackle you would want your player to be able to move, but Paul is possibly the strongest player in the draft. He's been lifting weights since he got into elementary, and some experts say he may be able to move to guard when he goes to the NFL. Asante Shields is a great right tackle that specializes in pass blocking on the edge. He looks like a player that's pro ready, maybe a future Pro Bowler, but won't be a superstar tackle in the NFL, is his projections. The highest ranked guard is Gerald Waters Jr., a player that should be good off the jump, and he will continue to get better. He's great at running downfield and giving high effort for great blocks, making him the highest ranked offensive lineman. Houston wouldn't mind drafting a center, and if they were to go that route, Eric Van Edward might catch their eye. Unlike other O-linemen, Van Edward is ready to go for the NFL. Eric looks to have the potential of a All-Pro or even a Hall of Fame center. Another O-lineman who might go in the first round is the center Willie Bynum. Bynum's ability to pass block seems pro-ready, while his run blocking needs some work. Andrew has extreme smarts, having a 4.0 GPA in college, and he's never missed a game in his college career, while always making sure to get to class on time. Now for week 10, of course Houston will need to worry about Saquons in the running game. Surprisingly, even with Dexter Lawrence, the Giants are one of the worst rush defenses, so Quan Frazzle will probably have to give Dameon Pierce a lot of looks. Pierce is actually the #1 running back in the league in rushing yards per game. Obviously he's only played a few times, but when he has played, he's been a force. The quarterback for the Giants, Danny Dimes, doesn't scare me, but hopefully our secondary can start playing how they did to start the year, because recently our cornerbacks and safeties have been letting up a lot of big plays. Even though I said Danny Dimes doesn't scare me, he has had a pretty good year this year, looking like he's going to have his best season of his career. But the Texans were able to beat the Eagles last week, so hopefully they can do the same this week. Saquon starts the game with a nice run. Now Danny Dimes will drop back on second down, and he'll get Paris Campbell. He's going to break a tackle, and he gets popped by Jimmy Ward. Jimmy Ward, who the Texans got from San Fran, has been pretty good. He hasn't been amazing, but he has been a solid force for this defense, as Danny Dimes gets a dot to get the first down. Danny Dimes on 3rd and goal to pass and touchdown. Danny Dimes to Paris Campbell. Daron Payne tried to get to the play, but instead he just ended up laying on the ground looking silly. Now CJ Stroud drops way back on 1st and 20, and he connects with the tight end Dalton Schultz. Schultz showing why the Texans were able to get a long-term deal done with him. Now Dameon Pierce on the run. He starts off the game a little slow, but the Texans fans have been used to that. Now Tank Dell gets a catch, and the ball will get punched out. And the Giants finally recover after about 5 seconds. Tank Dell has been great for the Texans, but he just gets clean stripped. Now Saquon on the run play, he bounces left, he breaks some tackles, and he's only going to get 2-yard gain. But the Texans get more bad news. Their number 1 cornerback, Shaquille Griffin, will be out for the rest of this game. Now Danny Dimes with all day throws for another touchdown to Paris Campbell. That's already 2 to start the game. And now the Texans are already down 14-0. Stroud will look for Tank Dell, and he's going to get him. Quan Frazzle Bingleton still having hope in the young wide receiver even after the fumble. Once again, Tank Dell gets another big catch, and the Texans are once again moving the ball down the field. CJ Stroud looks left side, and he's going to airmail it, and the Texans will end up kicking the 60-yard field goal. Fairbairn, who hasn't missed a kick all year, will kick it far right. In the windy conditions, he will miss his first kick this whole year. Now on 3rd and 8, Danny Dimes will throw it short down the field to the newly acquired Darren Waller. Now on 2nd and 10, Danny Dimes once again will throw it short. This time it is Saquon, and Denzel Perryman will end up dislocating his shoulder. He will be back next week, but he is out for this game. Danny Dimes now will get sacked by Will Anderson. Will Anderson has been amazing for the Texans. He had a slow 3-game stretch where he didn't get a single sack. Now he has 2 games in a row with a sack. CJ Stroud throws it left side, and once again it is Tank Dell, the leading receiver for this Texans team, putting in work early in this game. CJ Stroud again looks left side. This time it's John Mechie with a very nice play before getting hit hard by a Giants DB. Now on 3rd and 7, Dameon Pierce on the handoff, breaks a tackle, breaks another one, and then he gets rocked. But a big gain for Dameon Pierce, easily his best of the day. Now on 3rd and 1, again, it's a handoff, it's a draw for Dameon Pierce, another broken tackle, and he's going to go down to the 6-yard line. Now on 2nd and goal, Stroud looks middle of the field, and it's going to be Tank Dell for the touchdown to make it a 14-7 game. Tank Dell versus a pretty tough Giants pass defense having a day besides that bad fumble. The Texans have been pretty good to start this game, but they are down 14-7. That one turnover from the fumble has costed them. But Stroud will start with the ball. He looks deep and intercepted. And just like that, the Texans will give the Giants great field positioning, and the Giants will look to capitalize. Now on 2nd and goal, Danny Dimes will hand it off to Saquon, and that's too easy. Saquon doing a juke move for no reason, but making Jalen Petrie look silly. Jalen Petrie has been pretty disappointing to start the year. His tackling ability and coverage skills have been very shaky, but hopefully he will get over the sophomore slump. Dalton Schultz gets a catch, and now Stroud will do another play action on 2nd and 10. He's on the run, stops, and gets Robert Woods for a nice gain to the 2-yard line. Now on 3rd and goal, Dameon Pierce will dive in for the touchdown. The Texans once again are trying to get back in range to take the game over. It is now a 21-14 game. Well, it would be, but Quan Frazzle will go for it, and John Mechie once again making a very disappointing play. Sometimes John Mechie can be amazing, but sometimes he just does not live up to the hype. Now Danny Dimes with a clean pocket, once again right side. The Giants love throwing those curl routes, and the Texans defense can't seem to handle them. Now Danny Dimes on 1st and 10 will look left side, and touchdown again for the Giants to make it a 28-13 lead. Now the Texans will pitch the ball off. Dameon Pierce, a big run. It's like whenever Dameon Pierce starts the game off slow, you just know he's always going to turn it up later in the game. Now Dameon Pierce on the handoff again. He's so hard to bring down on the first tackle. He breaks a tackle almost every single time. Now on 2nd and 10, and oh my goodness, CJ Stroud fumbles. Another good drive wasted by the Texans from a dumb turnover. And a slow man race will end in Ashawn Robinson getting a fumble 6, and now the game looks out of reach for the Texans. Down 35-13, Stroud will get another fumble, and Kayvon Thibodeau will pick it up How unlucky for the Texans, and that's another fumble 6, and now the game is definitely out of reach. Quan Frazzle still trying to get some dignity back from the awful defense and offense. Now Stroud will look, and he's going to throw it to Tank Dell for his second touchdown of the game. In garbage time, Tank Dell has been amazing, but that fumble was just signs of things to come with this Texans team just getting a bunch of turnovers tonight. And now Saquon will almost get the touchdown. He makes the Todd Gurley play by not getting it. And the Giants will just waste the clock out. And the Texans get one of their few blowout losses this year. Texans have been a pretty good team at making it a close game, but this game they get blown out 42-20. But Danny Dimes was absolutely dominating for the Giants, while CJ Stroud was alright. This was one of CJ Stroud's most mid games of the year. While Saquon had a pretty good game, but it was weird. It didn't seem dominant, but the Texans just make it look so easy for RBs. Tank Dell had a great game. Not a lot of yards, but a lot of touchdowns. Tank Dell has surprisingly been an amazing red zone threat and deep threat. The defense, Will Anderson played great. That's a great sign. Him getting another sack this game. While the rest of the defense was pretty mediocre, especially the pass defense. Now for week 11, the Houston Texans are going up against the 4-6 Washington Commanders. If you don't know, the Houston Texans traded for Daron Payne, so Daron Payne will be playing his revenge game tonight. And this Commanders team has been one of the best at getting tackles for loss and getting pressure on the QB, while this O-line has recently been a little shaky, but overall our O-line has been pretty good. A major improvement from the Deshaun Watson days for sure. And going against the Commanders, once again, I would say we are not scared of their QB. Hopefully, Sam Howell does not light us up like Daniel Jones did. Unlike a lot of other teams, though, this Commanders team does not have a major threat at the halfback position. Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson are definitely solid, but they're no Saquon or Derrick Henry or Jonathan Taylor. Denzel Perryman will be back in this game, and Quan Frazzle and the rest of this Houston team is ready for this matchup. CJ Stroud starts with the ball, and on 4th and 1, he looks left side for Dalton Schultz for the conversion. Now, on 3rd and 20, after getting sacked, CJ Stroud looks for Schultz again, and it is incomplete. And now Sam Howell with the ball on 2nd and 10 is able to get the ball to Curtis Samuel, even with a lot of pressure coming from the defensive pass rush. Now Sam Howell on 3rd and 1 will get sacked. Will Anderson Jr. continuing his hot streak. Will Anderson really looks like a superstar in the making for this Houston Texan organization. A great trade up for this team. Now Tank Dell, a big catch, and he's going to get thrown down by Cameron Curl. Cameron Curl is someone to look out for. Last season he had one of the best PFF grades in the league. And CJ Stroud will get thrown down by Chase Young while Chase Young is celebrating in his face. Chase Young, when healthy, is going to be a major threat. On 3rd and 1, the stretch to Brian Robinson, and he's going to be short. He was stuck behind his blocker, and he's not going to get the 4th down. Now Sam Howell with a lot of pressure on 3rd and 10, and once again Sam Howell is facing a lot of heat, and he's not going to be able to convert. Now CJ Stroud on 1st and 10 will drop back, and it's going to be Tank Dell right over the middle. Now on 3rd and 10, CJ Stroud will look, and it's going to be Robert Woods for the 1st down conversion. CJ Stroud throwing a lot of short passes, but he has been efficient. Now the Texans will get the first points of the game on a field goal, and Fairbairn will try to create a new streak after missing a field goal last game. Sam Howell running around in the pocket has some pressure on the run. He throws it to Curtis Samuel. He breaks a tackle, and he's going to go down not after getting a big gain. Now Sam Howell to Logan Thomas wide open, and he's going to get the touchdown. And the Commanders are now up 6-3. And the Commanders will end up missing the PAT. So now the Texans are just a field goal away from tying this game up. CJ Stroud throws over the middle. It's going to be Dalton Schultz for a big gain once again. CJ Stroud looking to pass. He throws right side. What a pass by CJ Stroud deep to Robert Woods. That's one of his best throws of the year. And CJ Stroud in the next play will do the QB sneak. Something we saw against the Eagles. Weird celebration by CJ Stroud, but he's going to put the Texans up 10-6. Now Sam Howell with all day in the pocket. Now he has pressure. He throws a 360, and he almost gets intercepted, and that will be the end of the half. The Texans winning this 10-6 low-scoring battle in the first half. Rare sight for a Texans game. Usually it's a very high-scoring match, but I don't mind this low scoring. This Texans defense actually not allowing a lot of points is a very good sign. And Terry McLaurin is wide open on one of the first plays of the second half, and that's a deep touchdown. Steven Nelson absolutely burnt by Terry McLaurin, and now CJ Stroud is going to have to fight an uphill battle. And what a play by Robert Woods. He breaks a tackle, looks like he was going to go on the sideline, then he jumps over a defender. What a play by the veteran wide receiver. Now CJ Stroud over the middle to Tank Dell. He spins off of someone and he fumbles again. Another fumble, back-to-back weeks. But the referees are going to look at it, and it does look like Tank Dell's knee was down right before he fumbled. So the Texans will regain the ball. CJ Stroud once again moving to the right side. He's going to throw to John Mechie. CJ Stroud throwing a lot of short passes, but very efficient. And the Texans will tie up the game 13-13 after Fairbairn drills another short kick. On 2nd and 1, Howe throws deep. And Curtis Samuel once again burns the Tampa 2 zone defense. Curtis Samuel is such a deep threat with his electric speed. And Antonio Gibson will just walk right into the end zone for an easy touchdown. And now the Commanders are up 20-13. CJ Stroud on 1st and 10 with about 3 minutes left in the third. He's going to hit it to the backup tight end Brevin Jordan for a big gain. Dameon Pierce hasn't gotten a lot to go in the running game, so CJ Stroud has had to play like he did in the beginning of the season, where he was just carrying this Texans offense with passing. But now Dameon Pierce will run, and he's breaking through defenders. What a run! Dameon Pierce has been slow all night, and he just makes a absolute highlight mixtape play, slamming through defenders for a difficult touchdown to tie up the game. But instead, Quan Frazzle goes for 2, and Dameon Pierce once again carrying the offense on the passing and the receiving end. And now the Texans have a 1-point lead. Sam Howell drops back with pressure, and he's going to hit Terry McLaurin on the right side of the field for a big gain. It's going to be a first down for the Commanders. Sam Howell with a very clean pocket, looks left side, and it's going to be incomplete. Logan Thomas wasn't even close to getting his feet in bounds. And the Commanders will take a field goal to go up 23-21. Dameon Pierce on the run. He's trying to get it going in a big gain of 19 on the run play. Now has a yards per carry of 5.5 on the game. Now CJ Stroud with the Commanders blitzing gets it to Dalton Schultz. Now CJ Stroud on the draw play is going to be able to cut it back, and he doesn't slide in time, but he does not fumble. Now CJ Stroud on the run play to Dameon Pierce will hand it off in a big gain of 24 yards. Dameon Pierce, even when he starts slow, he's going to continue to battle through. And now CJ Stroud on the play action gives it to Dalton Schultz, and that's a touchdown. The former Cowboy will get it in for a touchdown to bring the Texans up 28-23. Dameon Pierce and Quan Frazzle not happy with this pass defense so far. Sam Howell and no huddle is going to have to hurry it up with little time left. Once again, another first down for the Commanders. Is looking scary for the Texans right now. All they need is a touchdown. Sam Howell will take it off. Look at him. He's splitting through defenders. He doesn't slide, but he gets a gain of 12. Now Sam Howell at the 2-yard line. He's going to look. He throws McLaurin. Intercepted by Shaquille Griffin. And he's running down the field. The 30, the 20, the 10. And that's a 104-yard pick six. Shaquille Griffin ices the game. If you don't remember, Shaquille Griffin had a game-winning pick on Devontae Adams versus the Raiders. And once again, Shaquille Griffin is showing off why he's a great pickup. Especially after that play, I think Shaquille Griffin should for sure stay with this Houston Texans team. If not as a cornerback 1, definitely as a cornerback 2. And after the pick, the Texans will win the game, and they will go up to 3-7 while the Commanders go down to 4-7. Dalton Schultz had one of his best games of the season. He's been pretty slow recently. Dameon Pierce had one of his worst games, which is saying something. CJ Stroud had one of his best games too. He was not getting a lot of touchdowns, but he was getting a lot of passing yards, that's for sure. This Commanders pass defense was pretty bad tonight, but for the Texans defense, Will Anderson continues his hot 3-game stretch with another sack tonight, 2 in one episode. If Will Anderson Jr. continues this play, he looks like he might win Defensive Rookie of the Year. Now it's time for some of the best performances from Week 11. In a division rival match, Joe Mixon dominated against the 4-6 Pittsburgh Steelers, scoring 3 rushing touchdowns and running for 153 yards. In Week 11, the 3-6 Vikings played the 7-2 Cowboys. In the rivalry game, Justin Jefferson pulled a Randy Moss type of performance. JJ finished the game with 7 catches, 109 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns, while rushing for a 9-yard touchdown as well, leading the Vikings to a 1-point win. In a Week 11 matchup, the 7-2 Browns played the 5-4 Bills. Josh Allen would go on to throw 5 touchdowns for a passer rating of 151.4, while James Cook in his first game as a starter scored 4 total touchdowns in a massive blowout versus a Super Bowl contending Browns team.